Sitting up nice and tall in the sits bones, cross-legged. Gently draw the shoulders up towards your ears and then back and down, opening up through the chest. Nice and tall through the spine, rooting down through the sits bones and lifting up through the crown of the head. Allowing your hands to rest gently on your knees. Closing the eyes or keeping a soft gaze, gently draw the breath in through the nose, filling the chest and the belly. And gently release the breath out through the nose or the mouth. As your belly contracts towards the spine, your shoulders soften down and away from the ears. Notice sensations of the breath, the movement of the belly and the chest, the sensation of the cool air as it draws in through the nose, filling the chest and the belly, the pause at the top of the breath, and the sensation of the air leaving the body. The belly contracts towards the spine, the chest softens. The pause at the bottom of the breath before you inhale. Notice if you can soften any areas of tension. Maybe through the jaw, the shoulders. Notice the sounds both distant and near. Notice the sounds that are constant and the sounds that are passing. Notice the sensation of smell. Notice the sensation of taste. Feel the sensation of touch as the air on your skin or the clothes resting on your body. Notice the sensation of sight. So even if your eyes are closed, noticing if you see brightness or darkness, lights, colors, or maybe images, shapes. Gently draw your awareness back to your breath. Gently begin to soften your chin down towards your chest, lengthening through the back of the neck, opening up as the shoulders relax down the back. The chin softens towards the chest. You can begin to flutter light into the eyes. Then gently begin to draw the right ear over towards the right shoulder. So lengthening through the left side of your neck, just getting a deep stretch through the left side of the neck. Option here to walk the left hand out beside the hip, which will further deepen the stretch. Keep drawing the chin kind of away from the chest. Notice the breath. And then gently begin to release the chin back down towards the chest. Left hand comes back to the left knee if it walked out. And then gently and slowly draw the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Opening up through the right side of the neck, option to walk the right hand out to the side. Fingertips just kind of land softly on the mat. Your chin keeps drawing away from your chest as you open up through the right side of the neck. The left ear draws down towards the left shoulder. And then gently begin to soften the chin back towards the chest. Return the right hand to the right knee. And then draw the chin away from the chest straight. And we'll just begin to make some circles with the torso. So moving around to one knee, back, over to the other knee, forward, opening up through the chest as you reach forward. Warming up the whole spine, the whole torso. Linking the breath with the movement, kind of making it your own. So taking what feels good from this practice and letting go of what doesn't, switching directions as what feels okay. So at any point in the practice, if something doesn't feel good in the body, instead of pushing or pulling your way into the pose, just modify and make it feel okay for your body and for that moment. Kind of honoring the cues of your own body, and come back to center, opening up through the chest. Let's extend the right leg out to start. Left foot stays hugged in. Sitting up nice and tall, and the sits bones nice and tall through the spine. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, begin to fold straight forward. And then release the head and the neck into the rectangle of the arms. Explore maybe drawing the head over towards the right or the left. Just kind of stretching through the upper back, feeling rooted through the sits bones. Big breath in and big breath out. And then gently walk the hands back towards the pelvis. Right hand to left knee. Inhale, reach the left arm high. Exhale to twist and open. So opening up through the chest here. Nice and long through the spine, softening through the shoulders. Crown of the head lifts up as the tail roots down. Gently release back through center, facing the torso towards the right extended leg. Inhale, lift the arms up, lift right up out of the hips. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold forward. Left hand lands on the outside of the right extended leg, and then you gently draw your head down towards the center, getting a nice stretch through the left lower back, as well as a little bit maybe through the left rib cage. Just notice where you're feeling this stretch the most. And then gently begin to draw the torso up. Move the left ankle just slightly away from the torso. Point into the right toes. Come onto the hands just behind your hips and fingertips face forward. And then begin to lift the hips up off the mat, opening up through the hips. And then gently soften the hips back down to the mat. Left leg extends long, right foot hugs in. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders over hips. Inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, hinge from the hips as you gently fold forward. Be mindful of any twinges through your right knee. So noticing if you need to adjust in any way. Honoring the cues of your own body. Opening up through the right side body, the right lower back. Look towards the hands, gently walk the hands back to center. Left hand to right knee, inhale, reach the right arm high. Exhale, twist open. And then gently walk the hands back through center and then shift so that the torso faces towards that left extended leg. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold forward. The right hand lands on the outside of the left extended leg as you draw your head down between the biceps. Soften through the shoulders. And then gently and slowly begin to draw the torso back up through center, shoulders over hips, flexing into that right foot and also maybe moving the right heel a little bit away from the pelvis just to create a little bit more space. Hands land behind the hips and then begin to lift the hips up off the mat, kind of using your right knee and your right shin as somewhere to land on. And then gently and slowly release the hips back down to the floor. Knees draw together. We'll extend the legs straight out in front and then open just a tiny bit. So not all the way, just about a little bit more than hips width distance. And then inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips. See if you can grab a hold of your feet or your ankles, even your shins, and then gently bend at the elbows to draw your head and your upper body kind of between the legs. The more you draw the chin towards the chest, the deeper you'll feel this stretch. And then use the breath to soften into the posture. And then very gently begin to draw the torso up, shoulders come over the hips. We're gonna plant the right foot on the mat. Hands come just behind, kind of to give some space for the left ankle to hook on top of the left thigh, just above the knee. Open the left knee forward, an option to make this stretch deeper by drawing the heel in towards the hips any amount. Kind of the closer that your torso is to your legs, the deeper the stretch. And your hands can turn out or turn in, spreading wide through the fingers, kind of using your elbows to support your back. And also keep drawing the shoulders together at the back to open through the chest. Gently begin to release that left ankle. Walk the feet about as wide as the mat and allow the knees to draw over to the right, and pause here for a moment. And gently draw the knees through center over to the left. Pause here for a moment. Draw the knees up to center. Extend the legs long. Kind of heels come out to the edges of the mat or so. A little bit wider than hips width distance. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips. And then soften the chest, the belly, and then the chin softens towards the chest, really lengthening through the whole back body. Notice if you can soften through the jaw any amount, or any areas that are holding onto tension. Allow them to release using the breath. And then very gently and slowly begin to draw the upper body up. Roll the shoulders as you arrive. Feet come back to plant on the mat. Hands come behind you just for support as you hook the right ankle this time onto the left knee. And then draw the hips and the heel any amount together. Adjust the hands so that the wrists are comfortable. Flex into the right foot and keep thinking about drawing the right knee forward. Paying attention to any twinginess or discomfort in the knee. And if you do have any discomfort in the knee, simply walking the left heel away from the hip to kind of lessen the stretch. Because we want the stretch in the outer leg or the hip, just not the knee joint, really. And then gently begin to release that ankle. Bring the feet about as wide as the mat. Allow the hips to draw, or the knees to draw to the right. Pausing here for a moment. And then gently draw the knees over to the left. Pausing here for a moment. And gently draw the knees back through center. We're gonna walk the hands forward to bring the legs around back. Bring the knees about as wide as the mat. Big toes to touch. Sink the hips back towards the heels and then lengthen through the arms as you release the forehead down to the mat, coming into child's pose. So in child's pose, we're lengthening through the spine, sending the hips back as close to the heels as you can get them. Notice how the body feels in child's pose, allowing the belly to draw towards the earth with every inhale and contract up towards the spine with every exhale. Feel the points of contact where the body meets the mat. And then gently begin to draw the weight forward, drawing the knees together, but keeping the elbows on the mat. So elbows stay on the mat underneath the shoulders. Open up through the fingertips and then begin to walk the knees back in space as the hips draw down to the mat, coming into Sphinx pose. So active through the legs. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Open up the fingertips. Chin draws down towards the chest just to lengthen through the back of the neck. Slight engagement through the low belly. Engagement through the legs, pressing all 10 toes into the mat. Gently begin to look over the right shoulder, back towards the right heel. And then look over the left shoulder. And then gently come back to center. Walk the elbows out to the side and rest the head on the hands. Looking up, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Begin to press the mat away from you as you lift up through tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Begin to tuck the toes under, lift the knees, lift the hips, coming into downward facing dog. In our first downward facing dog of the practice, bend into one knee, bend into the other, opening up through the backs of the legs. Keep lifting the hips up towards the sky, lengthening through the spine. Soften the head so that the neck stays in line with the spine. And then inhale, look forward towards the hands. Take baby steps all the way up to the top of the mat. Heel toe the feet out to about as wide as the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to shins and you form a flat back. And then as you exhale, gently release the head, release the neck. As you draw the torso and the crown of the head towards the legs. Gently look towards the feet. Release the fingertips if you can down to the mat. Turning the left heel in, the left toes step out. Bend into the knees so that your hands can find a steady ground on the mat and step the right leg back. Toes can stay tucked under. Walk the hands so that the wrists stay underneath the shoulders. And then as you feel ready, you can release that back right knee down to the mat. Untuck the toes, finding your lizard pose. Opening up through the right hip flexor. If you want to keep it more active, you can keep the toes tucked under. Long through the back of the neck. Notice the breath. Option to stay here or option to come down onto the forearms. If you've come down onto the forearms, gently bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Keep the right hand planted. Left hand comes to the left knee as you use the hand pressing into the knee to twist from low back, middle back, upper back, open through the chest. Keeping the hips lifted. And gently unwind back to center. Begin to shift the hips back. Left hand comes on the outside of the left foot as the left foot draws in and out, and then gently lift the left toes up off the mat. Again, walking the hands back so that they come underneath the shoulders, kind of tenting out the fingers, opening up through the chest, long through the back of the neck for half splits. Noticing the breath. And then gently slide the heel back underneath the knee, walking the hands forward, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then step the right foot forward to meet the left. And exhale, fold forward, release the head and the neck, bend into the knees, slowly roll up all the way to stand, vertebra by vertebra, taking your time. We roll all the way up, roll the shoulders down and away from the ears. Here we're going to interlace our fingers behind the back and open through the chest. Feel all four corners of the feet rooting down into the earth. And then gently release the clasp of the hands. Inhale, circle the arms around and up. Hands come together at the top. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge from the hips, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat, stepping the left foot back. Stepping the right foot back, arriving in a high plank. Lower the knees down to the mat, untuck the toes. Inhale to cow pose. Pelvis tilts up, open through the chest. Exhale, draw the belly in for cat. Back to a neutral spine, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, lift the hips, find downward facing dog. Bending into one knee, bending into the other, opening up through the backs of the legs. Inhale, look towards the hands, baby steps all the way to the top of the mat so that the feet land just behind the wrists. Heel toe the feet about as wide as the mat. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Hands come to shins and then gently release down. Forward fold. This time maybe your hands come just behind the ankles and you draw the upper body even closer to the lower body. Explore bringing the chin towards your chest. Look towards the mat in front of you, bringing the hands to the mat. If your hands don't reach, you can bend your knees any amount. Draw the right heel in, the right toes out, kind of forming a 45-degree angle, and then shift the weight into the hands to step the left foot back. Left toes can stay tucked under or come down with the knee on the mat. Walk the hands back so that the wrists are underneath the shoulders. Your whole torso is supported by your arms and not just your shoulders. And then we'll all gently meet with the knee coming down to the mat. Untuck the toes. Arriving in lizard pose. Option here to draw the forearms down to the mat. Kind of drawing the right knee outwards. Hips stay lifted. And then coming back up off the forearms, if you came down to the forearms, bringing the hands back under the shoulders. Left hand stays underneath the left shoulder and weight goes into the left hand as your right hand comes to the top of the right knee, and then you open lower back, middle back, upper back, pressing the right hand into the right knee as you twist and open. Gently begin to release that right hand down to the mat, and then we'll begin to shift the hips back in space. Right foot draws under so that it comes back underneath the torso, right hand on the outside, and then keep shifting the hips back. Right hip, right heel draws forward, lift the right foot up off the mat, coming into half splits. Make sure your hands walk back so that they're underneath the shoulders, supporting the torso and the upper body without putting strain on your shoulders. Connecting with the breath, opening up through the right hamstring and the right back of the leg. And then we'll gently release that right foot back to the mat, shifting the hips forward, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, stepping the back foot in any amount to find your balance to step that left foot forward to join the right. Gently fold all the way forward, release the head and the neck. Take ragdoll, hands to elbows, release the head into the square of the arms. Releasing the hands down, bending into the knees, slowly roll up vertebra by vertebra. Shoulders roll down and back, interlace the fingers behind the back and open through the chest. Feel all four corners of the feet rooting down as the shoulder blades draw together. Option to inhale and reach the arms further back. Exhale, gently lower. Two more like that, inhaling to lift. Exhaling to lower. Last one, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower, rolling the wrists out to the front space. Inhale, lift the arms around and up. Hands come together at the top. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge from the hips as the hands come through the center all the way down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift that flat back, open through the chest. Exhale, hands come to the mat, stepping the right foot back, stepping the left foot back, arriving in high plank. Feel the heels pressing back, the crown of the head reaching forward, shoulders soften away from the ears. Gently release the knees down to the mat, untuck the toes. Inhale, pelvis opening through the chest for cow pose. Exhale, round through the spine for cat. And then come back to a neutral spine, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Look towards the hands, baby steps all the way to the top of the mat. Exhale as you fold over your legs, release the head and the neck, bend into the knees, and then slowly roll up vertebra by vertebra. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, bring the hands to heart center, and we're gonna come into tree pose. So rooting down through the left foot, begin to shift the weight over to the left as the right heel lifts. And then you lift the right knee in line with the right hip. Option to stay here or bring the right foot to the left standing leg below the knee as a kickstand. So heel rests on the ankle, or you can assist it to come above the knee, pressing the right heel into the left leg, the left leg into the right heel, and imagining your inner thighs kind of opening up like a book. So drawing the right knee back in space, lifting up through the crown of the head, finding a soft gaze, so something to focus on that's not moving. Keep rooting down through the standing leg, lifting up through the crown of the head, and notice where you can soften through the jaw and the shoulders, the chest and the belly. And then gently begin to, with control, release that leg out in front. We're gonna pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then gently release that foot down to the mat. Just give the hips a big circle in one direction and then in the other direction. And then we'll take tree pose on the other side. So begin to root down through the right foot this time. Shift the weight over into that standing leg and lift the other leg up so that the knee comes in line with the hip. Find your balance here. Keep lifting up through the crown of the head, rooting down through the tail. And then bring the foot to either the calf as a kickstand, or draw it so that it comes above the knee. Just don't press it into the knee, pressing the standing leg into the heel into the standing leg. Keep opening the left knee to the back space, imagining your inner thighs opening like a book wherever you've landed. Softening through the muscles of the face. Keeping a soft gaze. And then gently and with control begin to release so that the knee comes back in line with the hip. Flexing the foot, begin to pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then gently release that foot back down to the mat. Rotating through the hips in one direction and in the other direction. And then from the top of your mat, feel the feet underneath your body supporting your legs and torso. Inhale, lifting the arms up and around. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge from the hips. Fold all the way forward. Release the head, the neck, the torso. Inhale, halfway lift, coming to that flat back. Pressing the hands into the shins. Drawing the shoulder blades together. Pause here. Crown of the head lifts forward. And then gently release the hands to the mat. Stepping one foot back, the knee comes down. The other foot back, the knee comes down. Opening up through the knees, big toes to touch. Sink the hips back towards the heels. Releasing the forehead to the mat, coming into child's pose. Gently begin to shift the weight forward, coming through all fours. Bring the knees together and then simply sit back on the heels. Roll the shoulders up, down, and away from the ears. Bring one hand to the opposite outer thigh. It doesn't matter which one because we'll do the other one after. Inhale, lift the arm up, the other arm up, and exhale, open. You can even wrap your arm around your low back if that feels okay in your shoulders and your chest, or simply rest the hand on the feet, maybe between the feet. Just kind of opening through the low back The middle back and the upper back kind of opening through the chest. And then gently begin to unwind, coming to the other side. We'll inhale first, kind of slight back bend in the back. Exhale, hands come through heart center, taking it to the other side. So other hand to the other outer thigh. Inhale the other arm up, exhale, open. And then gently come back through center, roll the shoulders in one direction and then in the other direction. Swing the legs out to the front space. We're going to take one seated forward fold. So inhale, lifting the arms up nice and tall through the spine. Imagine the crown of the head lifting right up towards the sky. And then gently hinge from the hips, fold forward, release the head and the neck. And then gently and slowly rolling up, vertebra by vertebra. We'll plant the feet on the mat, slide the hips forward. Make sure you have enough room to lay all the way back, lowering yourself gently. Tuck the shoulders down and away from the ears to open up through the chest. Open the arms, and then allow the feet and the legs to release down onto the mat nice and long. Settling into your Shavasana. Taking a few breaths to arrive. Soften the space between the eyebrows, the jaw, the tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Feel the whole back body where it comes into contact with the mat. And feel the whole front body as it opens up. Feel the right half of the body and the left half of the body. Feel the bottom half of the body from heels to hips. The top half of the body from hips to crown of head. And then notice where the two halves of the body, the right and the left, meet in the middle. From root center, low belly center, mid belly center, heart center, throat center, third eye center, and crown of head. Allow your whole body to rest in stillness with an ease of breath for Shavasana. Gently begin to deepen your breath, inviting small movements back into your fingers and into your toes. As you feel ready, you can bend into one knee, drawing it in towards your chest, and then draw the other one in towards your chest, using your hands on your knees or your shins, and gently rocking from side to side, massaging out the low back. And then from here, rest the feet back on the mat. Bring your hips over to the left to make it easier to roll over onto the right side, using your right arm as a pillow. Pausing here for a moment in this fetal position. And then gently begin to draw yourself up to a seat. Once you arrive in your seat cross-legged or otherwise any comfortable way that you can maintain a nice tall spine, scrunch the shoulders up towards your ears and then gently draw them back and down. Taking 3 big, nice deep breaths together. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale fully. 2 more like that. Big breath in. Exhale fully. Last one like that. Big breath in. Exhale fully. Gathering the hands to heart center. May any goodness from this yoga practice resonate out to all beings everywhere. Namaste.